Wow.
Oh. Okay. Everyone's good? We're going to get started then. Oh, I forgot. We should turn this to full screen. So you can see almost everything that's on here. Almost. We need to adjust it a little. Okay. All right. We're going to start off by making the sauce. Okay. Alright, I know there's a glare, but eventually this is going to be gone, so you should be able to see it. If you still can't see, I would highly recommend you still coming up. Okay? So, you won't be getting in the way. Yeah? Because you kind of want to make sure you see what's happening in here. In order for everything to run well. Okay? Alright. So I'm going to start. When you're making your sauce, this is a slight cream sauce. So if you want, you can make it with a little bit of cream. So it's up to you. So I'm going to start off by doing the usual, using my whisk bowl. Alright. I guess you can see everything. See that? Okay. Kind of. So I'm just going to start off with the shallot. Shallot, as you know, is actually... Shallot is a... You guys are okay? Okay, so if you're going to be here, maybe like on the side so that you guys can let them see. Alright? Okay, so the shallot, I turn this on and I'm turning it onto the lowest set temperature just so that it starts. And when you're making it, remember shallot is a mix between a garlic and an onion. So you don't want it to overcook it, burn it, but at the same time you want it to be really small dice because you'll be seeing it in the sauce. So I want it to be a small dice. So do the accordion thing, but make small thin strips. Okay? And then if you could, try using a small knife for this, and then I kind of cut it in half. Then I follow through with my knife. Okay? Nice and fine. And the thing with onions is that you need to cut it only once. Alright? Now that this is done, I'm going to also do my mushrooms. And I'm going to slice it. This is actually a brown mushroom. They're also called cremini mushrooms, which means that this is actually a mini portobello. Anyone have portobello mushrooms before? Yeah, they're pretty big. And a cremini is basically the same thing as a portobello mushroom, but just a smaller size. So it has a lot more flavor than the white mushroom, so I usually have that. If you're wanting to clean a mushroom, often, because it's like a sponge, you do not want to put it in underwater. You just want to go and use a towel or a paper towel and just scrape the sides, okay? Just from any dirt. And then once you have that going, you're just going to go and make thin slices. So I usually cut it in half first, and then afterwards I follow through. Okay? Okay. So I will have around 4. Are you able to see what I'm doing? Yeah. Pretty well? Okay. Nice thin slices. You want it to show exactly what's happening. But at the same time, you don't want large chunks, okay? Because this will be a nice sauce. The last thing you're going to do, which you'll love, okay? Right? I know you guys are used to seeing me doing these, but I did one at a time. Okay. Is that the last thing you're going to do is you're gonna go and take some peppercorns, however much you want, but I always highly suggest no more than a small tiny handful, like around 10. Okay, 10 pieces or so, because they're quite potent this way. Different from your cracked pepper, when you crack the pepper this way, it will actually have a really, really sharp flavor. Now, remember, the key to whenever you're making food is that you want balance, okay? Meaning that I should be able to taste some of the shallot, the mushrooms, and the peppercorns. I don't want one to go above the other. So that's really key. So you're gonna go in, crush it.
Crush?
Yep, just like I'm doing with the bottom of a pan, the peppercorn. So it's freshly crushed. Once that's happening, I'm gonna go and start to saute. Starting with my shallots first. Should have a sizzle. Okay. So this is what I mean by saute. You'll see that it's starting to jump. If you could see, maybe not. It's starting to jump. Okay. Sorry, I don't have a cameraman here. So, did you say you just get one? Yeah. Cameraman. And then you're gonna add your spice. Remember, spices is always in the beginning, and this is very potent. Saute this up. Okay. You're not making it burn. You're not caramelizing it. You just want it to saute. Okay. Now, the key to a mushroom is that you want it to be a higher heat at this point in time. Because mushrooms, and you'll see this with spinach too, it has a lot of water content. So if you actually put it in with low heat, what will happen to the mushroom is that it doesn't cook nicely, it just leaches out water. Did anyone see that before when you cook mushrooms and there's a huge pool of water? It just means that you don't have enough heat. So in goes my mushrooms. And at a higher heat, it will saute nicely and it won't leach out water. You'll see. Okay, so, right. I'm gonna go on. I see Melissa's phone.
I can see from here.
Okay. Once I see that it's absorbing a little bit of the oil, I would add a little bit more. It actually sucks up quite a lot of oil for mushrooms. Okay, it's like a sponge. And as you're doing it, you should saute until it has a golden brown look to it. Okay? Remember, the flavor always comes out before you add the liquid. So the longer you saute, the better it will taste. So saute longer and taking your time here is best. And I've been telling that with whenever you guys make the soup, a lot of people just dump everything. But the longer it takes in the bottom, it's like a space. It kind of creates the foundation for a good sauce. So, nice hot. And it's starting to wilt. Okay. Turning it low now. Okay. At this point in time, I think I'm ready, and I took this off the heat. I'm going to add a little bit of my brandy. Okay. Like I said, a blob. Oh, like a naughty blob. Alright, and it goes. And I'm putting it down to low heat. Great. Because I slowly want it to simmer. Okay? Absorb. So then I'm going to go and do a quarter cup's worth, because I'm going to make it around 9 cups. Alright. Okay, red wine. And what I'm going to do is that before I add the next amount, I'm going to let this simmer. And everything is by half or double. So I'm going to reduce this by half. So the liquid actually is concentrated by half. And then I will continue on. Okay, and add more. Add the next ingredient.
Should we let it simmer for a bit?
Sorry?
Just let the pepper, the sauce simmer for a bit?
Mm-hmm. And you're going to simmer until it reduces by half. Okay, I'm going to turn this on now, and I'm going to go and take my potatoes. So if you're going to pre-cut your potatoes, always put it in water because or else it'll go brown, as you know. So I'm going to go and put these potato coins. Everyone likes potatoes, right? Yeah, they're literally in grade 11 11, you'll learn how to make your own potato chips. Pretty cool.
Oh, you bake them?
No, fry them. Your own homemade fried potato chips. Yeah, really easy. And you can fry anything. I make carrot chips, beet chips, everything. Okay, give this a little.
So we can choose like any potato that we want to make?
Yep, you can make any type of potato. Just let me know so I have the ingredients for you. Okay, so like I said, if you want to practice your palm roasty, go ahead. Okay, if you want to practice making mashed potatoes because you feel like mashed potatoes will be really tasty with this, which it is, then go for it. Okay, or you can make the potato coins. It's just another way of making potatoes. There's over 100 ways of making potatoes. Okay. This is just a few that I've shown you before. Okay. So I'm actually putting it on my board, and then after I'm gonna season it all at once. Okay. So nice and high, putting on my salt, and because it's that I can actually cut my cracked pepper also. Okay. Now I'll be doing it on the other side. I have this on low because I was doing this, so I had it at the minimum. And by this time, everything is really ready to go, so I can jack up my heat again. So do you understand how I'm basically controlling, as you have learned, controlling my fire and controlling what I'm doing. Okay, so you're gonna use canola oil, and then you're just gonna put it in because I seasoned my pan already, and my oil is liquidy, almost like water. And I'm gonna go and take my seasoned part, and I'm gonna put it down. It should sizzle. Okay. And I have it on medium heat. I don't want it high. There's very rare times that you need everything on high heat. Okay? Remember, you can turn on your oven to keep your potatoes warm. So you can put it on a pizza pan after and just keep it warm at 200 degrees. All right? Okay. Then I'm going to season just slightly on the other side with a little bit of salt. And if you want pepper. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so when I'm pan frying, I do want to make sure that it's golden brown and cooked on the whole side. So how do I know when my potatoes are cooked? What's that indication? Yes.
Well, it's like brown crispy on the outside and really soft inside.
Yeah, so how do I test that it's ready?
It's
Brown
soft
crispy before. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is golden brown, but it's all soft inside. I can tell with the fork. So it goes in and out. Okay. So can someone quickly pass me a pair of tongs? I don't know what my tongs are. All right. So this is reduced by half already. Okay. So at this point in time, you're multitasking. You're gonna go and add your stock. I usually have brown stock ready, but because we just came back from break, I don't have it ready to go for you. So you're going to add double the amount, right? And once again, you're reducing this by half. Thank you. The same thing, golden brown. Okay, lightly golden brown. I feel like you need chopsticks instead. Better with chopsticks. Okay, so nice golden brown. I'm going to turn on my oven to around 200, 250, and I'm going to keep this warm. So, Rowan, can you give me a pan, please? With a little bit of aluminum foil on there. Okay, so same thing. I'm basically adding this again. Okay, I did not add a little bit more salt because I added a neutral ingredient, so make sure you add that in now. Okay, adding salt. Right. So now, not that my finger is my fork, but I'm able to go and test it out. And I know that it's ready to go. Then I'm going to do my second addition. Okay? So, yeah, figure out. You can these potato coins, and what I use is a russet potato. Okay, I use a russet potato for this. Thank you. But if you're going to be using, if you want to use something else and make something else, figure out which type of potato is best. For example, when you're making mashed potato, what kind of potato is best? Russet potato or the nice waxy yellowy one?
Yellowy.
Incorrect.
Russet
Potato makes things nice and fluffy, and it's good for fries and everything else. Low in starch, and it usually, crumbles. While the other one will be able to, when you're making it, it will go and saute together, and it will stay in that same shape. Okay? All right. This one browns easily. The other one doesn't. So let's try this again. Mashed potatoes. Which one would it be? The brown one or the yellow one? The brown one. Yes. Okay. Now, how about when you're making other things such as palmrosi? Yes.
Yellow one.
Yellow one. Yes, because it actually doesn't brown as fast. Wow. And then it doesn't turn gray as fast.
Wow.
Okay. How about if you're going to be making your roast potato? Yeah. But you want to stay in cat, and you want it to be the waxy one. All right. So in it goes. I turned down the heat because it was smoking. So if it's smoking, turn down your heat or turn off your heat. Okay. Clean this out. Add a little bit of salt. And at this point in time, majority of my sauce is ready to go. And I'm going to start talking to you about steak. All right? Now, steak, how many of you guys like steak? Yeah. Okay, so when you're talking about steak, how many of you guys like it medium rare? How many of you guys like it well done?
Medium rare.
Shake my head at you. Wait.
I like it better.
I'm still waiting. When you're making your steak, in the restaurants, if you're in a higher end restaurant, they won't ask you what color do you like your steak. They just make it for you in the way that it tastes best and brings out the best of the meat. And for that, medium rare is the best way to eat the meat. Okay? Why it's food steak is because I'm cooking it right away and I'm eating it right away. And if a person is not pregnant or they're not elderly, young kids, it's okay to have some of the, to cook it medium rare. Obviously, if you're cooking for someone and they're not, they're at the at-risk category, then you get a little bit more. Okay? Do you see that in the steak? I know it's 15 to you.
And so the sauce right now is still
Huh?
the sauce is still
Yeah, sauce is still reduced in by half. So whenever you buy stuff for a steak, you gotta make sure you buy the nicer cuts, okay? Because certain cuts taste best as a steak and certain other cuts aren't as tasty. So what I mean by that is this one is a New York strip loin, which is an okay, pretty tender meat. The other ones will be ribeye. So anyone have prime rib before?
Yeah.
Same kind of cut. Tenderloin, anyone heard of beef tenderloin before? Same thing, it's the most tender part. Okay, and it goes down, usually it's the back area where it's least exercise. There's two things where you need to know about the steak, whether it's good. Number one, the cut of the steak. Okay, so write that down. The cut of the steak matters in when you're choosing steak. Okay, two is a grade. If it goes A, it goes from A to triple A to prime. You will usually not get prime for you guys. Usually you see it in restaurants. But triple A is the highest grade that you can find. Usually you can find at Costco even. Those are really nice steaks. All right? Yeah, Costco has pretty good stuff. Thirdly is you look at the steak and you see when I go through the steak, I choose the steak that has the most veins. Kind of like my hand. Don't look like a hand, but you see the amount of veins. Okay, these are white veins. These are called the word marbling, so write that down. marbling. All right? Marbling means that your steak has little veins of fat, okay, so like little bits of fat in there, and it melts. And when it melts, it becomes tender in the middle and keeps the meat moist. Okay, so when you cook it, you will not see these lines, but instead it's melted and it makes your steak very tender. Okay, and the more marbling there is, the more tender the meat is. Okay, so understand frying the rest. And when that happens, I'm going to use my same frying pan to finish off my meat. So when you're making your steak, there's a couple things you need to know. Give me a sec. So it should reduce, and I'm just going to finish off my sauce first, and then after this I'm going to finish talking about this guy. Okay? My potatoes are basically cooked, okay, slightly crispy, and we're going to go on. So for mine, you want your sauce to not be lumpy, right? It should still run on the plate, just like a soup. It coats the spoon. So the hint is it coats the spoon and not the mouth. And when I put it on the plate, I should tilt the plate and it still moves. Okay? So keep that in mind. Those are my hints. So I'm gonna first of all taste this and see if it has too much salt or if it's not. So we're gonna taste this first. Okay. I think, for me, I'm gonna add something called crema de balsamico, a little bit, just to give it some sweetness, a little bit of vinegriness. So I'm just gonna give it a little squeeze. Of what? It's called crema de balsamico. It means this balsamic reduction. Okay. While that happens, I'm just going to go and add my cornstarch now. So add a little bit of cornstarch. Remember, don't add too much cornstarch. You can add too much slurry, and you can go back. So when you're doing it, you want to add only a little bit of cold water. Stir out the lumps. And then you're going to add it in. Remember, in order for a cornstarch to thicken a sauce, it needs to boil. So what I've seen before was I had seen someone who kept adding more and more cornstarch, a lot of it, like almost half a cup to this amount. And then, but the thing was, this thing wasn't boiling. So then they thought, why is it not thickening? But then they didn't realize that it's because they didn't turn up the heat. So once they turned up the heat, it became, unfortunately they were making something with fruit. So they made caramel, like candy. It was so thick that it was so hard to get off the spoon. And all you could taste was cornstarch.
Yeah.
So,
But how much cornstarch do you have?
I'm just going to go based on observation. Right? So I'm going to take a look. I added a spoonful first, and I'm stirring it around. And if you ever need to, you want to give me a really small, tiny plate. I'm going to go and let it boil first, right? Whistling. He said, ready. Yeah. You can always take this. Catching fire. I'm gonna put this in, and I'm gonna keep my keep everything warm. That's actually the way to keep things warm is just put it in there. I look at it, and it looks like it could use a little bit more. I know you can switch it around. So I'm going to add a little more by adding another spoonful. Okay, do you understand? So my goal is I don't want cornstarch in here. It's just I need to use it, then I'll use it. But if I can avoid using it, I'll use as little as possible. This looks like a good amount. So you can leave it at this color, or if you want to add some more, and then we can make it so it's gluten-free, dairy-free. Okay? So it's,
Come on.
all right. Maybe you'll see it as the recorded.
And it
If you want, then you can add a little bit of cream to this, which I might. Okay? If you want it to be a non-dairy free one, add a little bit of cream and it just kind of makes it look almost gravy-like. Okay? And how I actually check if this is done properly is I usually, especially if I'm not experienced yet, I usually take this and I put it on the plate, and right now it does not run. Okay? It's not like water where it just runs right away. But rather, when I pour it on, okay, it slowly does it, and then if I tilt the plate, it still moves. Okay? Alright? And that's what you kind of want. And it coats the back of the spoon, but it won't be coating your mouth. So that's the way to do it. So I didn't use all the slurry. I just based it on what I think I need. So always go by observation, remember? I'm gonna taste this. Very good. Alright. I'm gonna go and pan fry my steak now. So I'm gonna turn this onto low again, just to slowly heat up my pan without gently heating it. It always helps so that my pan doesn't get warm. Then I'm gonna go and start pan frying. Okay? And you won't be serving the steak as a whole. You actually will be slicing the steak because I'm gonna take a look if you are gonna cook it to that temperature that you're gonna tell me. So if you say that you're gonna be wanting medium rare, this looks like medium rare. All right. So I'm gonna go and start by adding a little bit of. Don't say raw, because that's not gonna work here. So you're gonna go and add a little bit of oil, and you're gonna do a little bit of massage. Okay, massage it in. Massage the oil. You're gonna go and bring down the salt. Now remember, your salt, the center inside doesn't have any salt. Okay. So it's kind of key that you season the outside properly. Steak loves pepper. So then you're going to go and flip it to the other side. And you're going to do the same thing. Okay? So this one, I chose the one with the most marbling. Alright? And no, you won't be getting this size of a steak. It'll be at least half. It'll be half the size. Okay?
That's a whole lot right there.
I know. It won't be 8 to 10. It'll be most likely 5 or so. Okay, turn up the heat. And this is a key thing that you need to know, is that when you're searing, you want to know, based on the finger test. Okay, so finger test, basically, what you want to do is that you want to go and test by squeezing the meat if it's at a certain temperature. If you poke into a meat and say, oh, is it red yet? What you're going to do is that you let out all the juices, and then it's going to be, no matter what color it is, it's going to be a super dry steak. But you want it to be nice and juicy, right? So if you go without any pressure, you put your thumb to your index finger, and just be relaxed, and you feel it, this part. You'll feel that this is actually medium rare, so when you touch, it will actually be medium rare. Okay? Alright? Yeah, some, like mine will be stronger than others, so you have to adjust based on that. So it's a general rule. Then you go to the third middle finger, it will be medium. Then you go to the fourth, it will be medium well. And the last one, if you feel it, it's going to be well done. Oh, that's so weird. Yeah. Okay? Alright, so add the oil. Next step, add the oil. And you're going to lower your, don't splash it from up here. Obviously, you're going to go and lower the pan. And it should sizzle. And you're going to start to caramelize it.
Is it high heat now?
Yeah, I'm doing it medium high. Remember, because you don't, with this type of, with our stove, you don't need to go all the way high. There's no need. I'm basically searing it nice and gentle, okay? And as long as it's actually searing like this, it's okay. Alright? Meaning, that's what I really want to do, is that as long as it's sizzling, okay? Alright? Sorry?
It's not for you to look at that thing. It's so blurry. It's focused on Melissa's hand.
Is it really blurry?
This is Melissa's hand. It's focusing on her.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm gonna let the media people know.
There we go, bro.
And everybody just goes, no, like, there's nothing. Well,
Oh my goodness.
We're at home. Like,
Oh, there's movement. You're like,
are you gonna stop like that?
so what do you guys will actually be able to see?
Sit down.
Guys, sit down.
You're not seeing anything. Back up.
Okay, so once you're basically, you want this to be a nice little, like a darker brown caramelized look, so you're nice and high, and I'm letting it do its thing. While that happens, I'm going to have either spinach, okay, or I'm going to have kale, it's up to you, and I'm ripping it in pieces, okay, having it ready to go. And you're going to saute these, right? And any leafy veg, you'll saute exactly the same way that I do. Golden brown, you're going to turn it over. Okay? So you want that edge look, which you can't see up there, I guess. Maybe
If you turn off the lights, will it help?
do you guys want to try to turn off the lights? You guys try to turn on the back light. This guy is still on though. That's it.
Hold on, we just have to adjust the focus.
Are we supposed to
Oh my.
That's Jemima. Okay.
I knew it.
Darn, this is going to be the best way to do it. So how do I know when it's done? I'm going to poke it, and if it feels like the same, okay? I poke it, and if it feels like the same, I'm going to go and take it off.
When both sides are brown.
Both sides are brown, but I'm poking it to see if it goes to the same temperature. So I'm poking it. Yeah, look at the temperature. Okay? So,
How are we gonna fight for the steak today?
how? Because I'm slicing it, people.
No, but there's like 24 of us. That's a
Yeah,
full
really,
house.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it
was
takes
gonna
like 3 bites.
No, that's Wesley. Let's do the whole chicken leg last time.
Okay. Can I continue to finish up so you can eat your steak? Your steak needs to... Shh. Stop. Guys, if you're in the front row, please sit down so that other people can see. Your steak, all right, needs to actually be resting. And that sounds funny, but if you cut into right now, and that's a lot of reasons why people don't like medium rare steaks, is because they don't let it rest, and then they see the blood coming out. It's like, oh, it's bloody, I don't want to eat it. But what you're supposed to do is let it sit there for a couple minutes, and then just like when we did the chicken, as it sits, it's just gonna go and redistribute the juices, and then after when you cut it, it won't bleed as much. Okay, and you create a juicier steak, and this happens when it's a well done steak too. So unless you guys are totally adverse to it, which doesn't matter, I will still be cooking it medium rare, which is what it is right now. So I basically poke it, okay, and then I feel it at the temperature. I mean, I would like you to try your best to go and get it to that temperature, okay. My excess oil that I have, I'm going to use a paper towel, and I'm going to go and wipe it down using my pair of tongs. Okay, soak it up. All right. And then I'm going to saute my spinach now. Okay. When you're sauteing your spinach, you want it to be, once again, in a higher heat. It's just like the mushrooms, okay? You can use butter, or you can use olive oil. It's up to you. Okay. I'm going to saute the kale so that you get to see what it's like. Kale is actually high amounts of nutrients in there, okay? It is a way of cleansing your system, let's just say. The other thing about it is It does have high amount of vitamin K. So if anyone actually has need blood thinners, okay, like my grandma is the same way. She actually has blood thinners. She cannot eat anything that has vitamin K, which will be kale. So in it goes. As I add that, I add a little bit of water so that it steams it. And add a little bit of salt. Okay. And I just toss it around. So for this high water content, what I'm trying to do is I'm just tossing it and slightly cooking it. That way, if I'm minimally cooking it, I have most of my nutrients in there. Let's get a plate. Okay. Same thing with my spinach. It's high in iron. It's really good for you. The darker and more leafy the veg is better. Okay. Alright, that's all I'm doing. So same thing with my spinach. You don't want high heat. This I have it around medium or so. I don't know. It's as long as when you add it, it starts to saute and sizzle. That's all you want. Okay. Add a little bit of salt, just a little bit, just to bring out the flavor, and then start to fold it. Okay. That's all I'm doing. As it's folding, it starts to shrink and it starts to cook. Okay. You want it to still have some body. Okay. So you only kind of cook it until it's you see it's shiny. Okay, but don't cook it until it looks like there's nothing left. Okay, so that's all I want to cook it to, and I'm done. That's spinach, right? Yep, that's spinach. Okay, and I'm basically done at this point. Does that make sense? So we're at this point of plating. So hopefully you'll be able to see. Looks like you can. Okay. I'm gonna take my potatoes. I'm gonna start to lay it out. And this is when you get to have fun. I'm gonna do mine this time as a fan. Alright. Daniel. Okay. Well, you eat with your eyes first, so you always want to make things pretty. That's true. Okay. Whether you're blind, love it. Okay, I'm gonna make mine into like a circle. Yeah, I thought I started off, but I feel like halfway through I'm gonna finish it off as a circle. I know, it's this creative part of me. Just, I don't know. Sometimes it just. Okay, so I'm gonna make a nice circle, as you can see. Hopefully. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then you're gonna go and add your vegetables.
Why is it so pretty?
And what I'm trying to do is I'm just gonna create a height. Okay.
Does anybody else feel guilty when eating in a restaurant?
No,
Okay.
it was amazing.
You feel like, it's so pretty and you have to
No, I don't
destroy
care.
it.
And then afterwards, you're gonna go and add, if you want, you're gonna add your sauce. Okay? If you want to do it, I can add it at the bottom, just so that the potatoes soak it up first. Okay? Always use a spoon, don't pour it. I've seen some of you guys do that. You just go up, and then you just pour it off. Okay? So, and a little bit on the side, just so that it. Then I'm gonna, now that my steak is kind of rested, I'm gonna go and start cutting. Now this is key. If you see lines, you want to cut against the lines and shorten it because that's the muscle. So if you shorten the muscle, it's gonna be tender. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? So if you see lines, you want to shorten the lines and make little short lines, okay? So I'm going to cut, my first cut. I'm going to take a look at it on the side, and if it looks marbly like my hand, right, your hand, then that's good. If it looks like straight lines, then you have to cut the opposite way. Okay, does that make sense? Kind of? No. Yes.
Isn't the steak cold right now?
No, it's warm still. Okay, so if I cut right now, my steak, okay, it looks like the palm of my hand, and it looks like the lines are going everywhere. You want that because what that happen is that you're cutting across the muscle, and that means that when you eat it, it doesn't feel like beef jerky. Okay, if you cut it and you see lines vertical and it all parallel, what that means that it looks like a basically, it's you're eating shreds of the muscle, and it's going to be really chewy no matter how nicely you cooked it. All right? So if you have trouble on that day, you can ask me, and then we can go through it together. Okay? So let me show you one. Oh, none of them look like it, so sorry. Can't show you. Okay?
Do we cut it up when we serve it?
Yeah, you have to cut it up when you serve it.
Okay, like into like thin slices.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be that round one?
Yeah. It can be a little bit less, so if you want it to be medium. Okay. I will cut it in half for these ones. So basically, I'm putting this on. And you kind of want to see the color. And then after, when you're putting it, I'm going to cover the other half with sauce.
And we should have done it on
Stick. All right.
I like them.
Okay.
Take a picture of this, hold
A
on.
little bit
Pretty.
more
All right.
medium rare, but not rated.
So there you go. Can we? You have your. I don't know. Pepsi. Okay. So get your.
Let's see
Stuff,
what
and then
first
we'll
one to
get
eat.
yours first.
Crazy.
Yours is.
She played it.
Can I get? I'm gonna put it in.
Oh, you're so great for that.
You say in the laundry room?
Just kidding, go first. You know, take a plate and jump. Oh,
Okay, if you guys want, I'm gonna go cut
you
this
didn't even
out.
get the meat.